Hey everyone, hopefully another exciting video today. It's one I've been really looking forward to and really excited about. So anyone who follows me on Instagram under just Project Freelander again, you will notice I posted up a picture of these boxes, sort of alluding that something was coming. So what we've got is two Borg Beck boxes. This is another sponsored video, and I'll go into that in a moment. But what we've got is a lovely new clutch for the Freelander. So we've got nice plates here. So these are all genuine parts, really nice. And most importantly, a nice lightweight. Yeah. We've got a solid mass flywheel. So typically the Freelander that I have is the Freelander 1 facelift, 2 litre BMW engined one, the M47. They are dual mass flywheel. So this is converting it to a single mass flywheel. Let's put this back in the box quickly. Because it's nice and light. So this is going to be converting it over to a single mass flywheel. Now there are a lot of reasons for and against that. I understand that. I've spoken to plenty of people who've done the conversions, etc. I think it comes down to personal choice, and for me, I think it's something that it's definitely worth exploring and doing on the Freelander. I have seen many of the for and against arguments, and I think looking at this kit and the quality of it and looking on the Borg Beck website, what are you doing? The Borg Beck website has a really great explanation of their single mass conversion kits, and I'll probably put that link in the description for this. But I went over everything, I looked through all of it, and I spoke to APD. So APD were the people who've recently sponsored me for my brake light switch and the MAF sensor on the Freelander, and this clutch is now the official start of what I hope to be and what we've planned a long-term collaboration, which I am really excited about for the channel. It's a huge step in the right direction, both for me and the channel. So, you know, I have to say a massive thank you to APD for sort of making all this possible, because they sent all of this out. So in here we've got the slave cylinder. So on the Freelanders it's a concentric slave cylinder, so it's a piston style rather than the lever arm. Sort of the external style, it's the internal. So it's just a sort of piston arm. And I can show that in more detail when we actually get to what we're doing with it. So yeah, having spoken to APD and them really liking the previous videos, we've decided this sort of collaboration now, and I'm really looking forward to everything that we've got planned. We've got this, so they're happy to send out this clutch, and there's plenty more down the pipeline as well that we've got planned. So yeah, again, a huge thank you to them, and I'll put links to everything down below as well, so you guys can sort of see these kits, check them out, etc. And see, with this though, I will not be installing the clutch. So I spoke to APD in sort of length, and we sort of discussed what was entailed in the job, and we decided it's one of those things where we wanted to know more about how this affected the drive of the Freelander as opposed to installing it. With things like clutches, I would always recommend going to a professional to get them fitted, just for alignment and balancing purposes, and also speed. I could sit on my driveway for 3 days, take it all apart and put it all back together again and show you that whole process, but I don't think many people are interested in doing that. I think people want other people to do the clutch for them who are trained, and they just want to know how this will affect their vehicle, which is kind of the route that we wanted to take. And APD were happy with that. It's a bit of a step away from the norm on this channel. Normally I like to do everything myself, but this is just one of those jobs where I feel it is very important to get someone who's a professional to do it. And I wouldn't want to do a video where I try and bodge it all together and do it myself, and then someone else does it and either hurts themselves, hurts someone else, or destroys their vehicle. You know, I'd much rather have the assurance that someone who's trained is doing it. And there's not many jobs that I would say I like that, but this is one of them. So, you know, a huge thank you has to go out to APD for sort of letting this all happen and being happy to go along with it as it is and doing it with another garage. So I'm going to be heading over to Dan Cuff Motor Engineering, who were happy enough to fit this for me. Not many garages will A, work on a Freelander 1 anymore, and B, work on parts that you bring. But they are good guys down there. They've worked on my parents' Land Rovers for years. So, I might leave a link down to them below as well, actually, to be honest, because, they're really, really nice guys, and they were happy enough to do this and help me along and hopefully let me get some footage whilst we're doing it as well. So, yeah, hopefully you guys are excited for this one as I am. I'm going to do a full in-depth review at the end, and I'll be as honest as I humanly can. I know this was provided to me as part of the deal with the channel, etc., but I don't feel that should overshadow my honest opinion. And I don't think it ever will with anything I do with this Freelander. I really want to make sure that I'm giving you guys honest and grounded opinions and thoughts. For me, I see the benefits of this. It's going to be an interesting video for you guys. Sorry I've waffled on for a little while, but I thought I'd just go into the in-depths of this and why we're doing the conversion, etc., and what's been happening in the background. I know I haven't done many bits of off-roading recently, but that is down to my clutches slipping quite badly. So I didn't want to go off-roading and kind of risk getting stuck or putting other people in danger by getting stuck and calling other people out. This channel is all about safety, so especially with off-roading, so I didn't want to risk anything like that. So hopefully once this is installed, we can get back to the usual program of getting back off-road, etc. But there is plenty more to come, and APD are really, really on board, and it's a really exciting time for the channel. So sorry for the long intro, guys, but yeah, let's go on and get the clutch fitted. Okay, so I've got the car out to Dankoff Motor Engineering. There's the garage. So it's going to hopefully start the work and get the car done. I'm not sure what I'll be able to record in there, but yeah, let's go on and get the car done. Okay guys, so it's been about a week actually, so just picking up the car from Dankoff's. The clutch is done. Unfortunately I couldn't get any footage of it. I had to get back to work, and just timings wouldn't work out, etc. So I ended up having to just sort of relinquish that and just sort of leave it with them and let them do the work. So they've done all the work, so the clutch is done now. I'm going to drive it home, see how it feels, and then I'll do another video just sort of out on a drive and just sort of explaining what I sort of feel is different, going from that dual mass to that single mass, and then seeing how the new clutch feels as well, and seeing how that sort of nice Borg Beck feels in comparison to the old one. So I have got the old clutch in the back as well, so I might do a quick sort of demo of what that looks like, what an old worn clutch is like, and just sort of a quick look at the sort of old dual mass flywheel as well. So yeah, a bit to look forward to, but yeah, I'm going to go out and test drive it and let you know guys what I think. Okay, so this is just my review for the clutch. So I do apologise that I couldn't get any footage of them doing the work. Sort of certain situations happened, it just made it impossible. So skipping ahead now to the main part of really what we were looking at was the sort of review of having this new clutch and flywheel system. So I looked at all the sort of Borg Beck stuff. It seems like they weight the flywheel the same as the dual mass. But obviously it's a solid mass rather than a dual, and so that so we haven't got that dual motion in there. And I noticed a bit of difference. Obviously I've had clutches done in the past. The clutch feels fantastic. Very, very lightweight compared to what it was before. And it had this like almost sandy feeling to it before as you're pushing it, if that makes sense. All that's gone. It's really lightweight, and the bite point is right near the floor, which is great. So really, really nice clutch. Big thank you to obviously Dankoff for fitting that, and obviously a huge thank you to APD for providing it. So yeah, big improvement all round on the clutch, 100%. In terms of flywheel, like a lot of people say that, they do these things for performance, etc., etc. I mean, is there anything that I notice that's different? I feel it's smoother. A lot of people said, oh, it might shake your brains out having something like that, but I'm actually finding it a lot smoother. And I can't really imagine it being much smoother than it is right now. Throughout the rev range, changing gear, idle, etc. I'd imagine my dual mass was probably on its way out, which wouldn't help the situation, because all that dampening effect is probably going to go out the window, and you're just going to have bits of metal basically flying around the place in there, so inside of it. So that wouldn't really help. It probably would run quite rough on with that, and with the clutch going as well. The clutch was very sort of gone. So comparing something that's broken effectively to something that's fixed and new but different. But even comparing it to when I first bought the Freelander, and the clutch was fine. I'm noticing it's smoother than I ever remember it being. It feels massively refreshed. So whether that's part of the clutch, whether that's part of the flywheel, I'm not too sure. But just going up and down the rev range now and slowing down, especially in these kinds of lanes, I am noticing a massive improvement, especially when approaching junctions like this. There's no sort of resistance at all. Before, it really felt like you were fighting it to kind of go up the speed, up the rev range, go down the rev range even. It really felt like it was fighting against you. And like I say, it's not, it's not Ferrari all of a sudden. I'm not saying you're suddenly accelerating 3 times as quick. It just feels like there's no no fighting there. Resistance obviously, but there's no sort of fighting against what you're trying to do with it. It feels like it's much freer. It's generally an easier drive. The clutch is really nice and light. The going up and down the rev range is nice and easy. Braking into junctions and towards roundabouts. All these little tiny minor changes to the way it drives, I would say is a massive improvement. Will this be for everyone? I don't know. I know there are other people out there who hate these kind of conversions, and that's understandable. I know I'm probably going to get comments in this saying you shouldn't have done that, but to me personally, I'm the kind of person who likes to experiment with this kind of thing, and so far it's proving to be very, very beneficial. There's always going to be that element of risk when you're changing away from the standard. However, I don't think companies would put their name to these systems if they knew they inherently were faulty and would immediately break your car. Borg Beck, I will link to a page they put up which describes their single mass conversion kits. There's a really good bit of information there. It's not a heavy read, and I'm just finding now, like we say, turning out to these roads now, it's accelerating up through the rev range. It's really nice and smooth all the way up. There's no juddering at all. I don't feel like I'm having to move a big single bit of metal sort of thing. It feels like it's just accelerating as it should, which is really, really nice, especially having had the clutch been going for so long. Really feeling kind of worse for wear. It's a much more refreshing drive. It's still noisy in it. That's my own fault for taking half the interior out. But it's a much easier drive. I don't want to waffle on too much when we have already, but to me it's just a much nicer, easier, smoother drive, and I don't feel so much of a difference that I think it's going to cause issues, if that makes sense. Because I'm not suddenly driving a Ferrari, I'm not suddenly feeling all this extra power. It's just a little bit more responsive in certain ways. When you're just pulling away, it's just like a little bit more. When you're decelerating, it's just like a little bit quicker to start doing it. But I don't think it's enough where you're suddenly going to start finding issues in other areas. So for me personally, it's fantastic. I love it. The feel on the clutch is great. It's a much nicer drive. And a huge thank you has to go out to APD for sending it out to me and allowing me to try this. And again, Dan Cuff for fitting it for me. Not many people like to work on Freelanders anymore. So a huge thank you to them for doing it for me. I'll give a description for both those guys, both those teams, in the description. And hopefully, this helps a few of you out. It's been interesting for me to sort of see. I've never done a dual mass to a single mass conversion before, and I'm finding it really good. I'm not getting any gear noise. People say about gear rattle, etc. But I'm not really getting. I don't really get it at all. Any sort of point in the rev range, I can go right down to 1,000 RPM, for example, in a gear, and just rev all the way up through. I don't get any sort of gear rattle or any kind of issues. There's no sort of lagging behind where it's trying to move that big bit of metal on its own.